Good morning, everyone. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? All good? How is Bangalore? Those who have come from away from Bangalore. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಹೊರಗಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Good. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಒಳಗಿಂದ? ಓಕೆ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ನಿಮ್ಮದು? ಯಾವ ಊರು? ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಊರು? Okay. Bangalore has consumed so many small towns and villages. ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? Vinay Kumar ಅಂತಂದ, founder of this institution. So ಇವತ್ತು I am going to conduct orientation for all of you. And how many of you are not from Karnataka? Anybody? 1, 2, 5, 6 people. Good. Welcome to Karnataka. I don't know what to speak. I conducted so many orientations. Everything is there on YouTube. So today I thought I will speak something different. I mean, with respect to orientation, the purpose of this orientation is to help you understand the nature of this examination and how you can go on to crack this examination while being part of Insights IAS, right? So that is what you are mostly interested in, how to crack this examination. Do you know anyone how to crack this examination? Yarigaದ್ರು gotta how to crack this examination? Everybody knows. If you ask me, everyone knows the answer. You might have read so many articles, you might have watched so many YouTube videos how to crack UPSC examination. So you know the answer. Basically you know the answer, but of course when you know the answer has so many details, so many factors, right? So many small minutest factors. So that is where our role comes into picture. So you know the bigger picture, how to crack this examination, because you know that it takes hard work, it takes perseverance, it takes dedication, it takes consistency, commitment. So you know all these qualities, but beyond these qualities there are so many other factors which will eventually help you crack this examination, right? So all of you have taken a first step, so I will say a second step. The first step was thinking big. I want to become IAS, IPS officer, right? I want to tell you that in our Indian society, very few people dare to think big. Very few people. So we think that everybody wants to become IAS officer. That is wrong actually. So I have seen so much of rural part of India. I have interacted with lakhs of students across Karnataka and across India, and I have traveled a lot. So when we ask a question, what do you want to become in life? So most of the people dream small, right? They are scared to dream big. It is very difficult for someone to think, especially for your parents, because of their background, that my son and daughter is going to be an IAS, IPS officer. For them it is a very big deal. And for you, for this generation, you can think big, but don't think that everyone is thinking big. So this is a very important factor here, because thinking big is the beginning, right? Is the beginning of series of successes. It can be a small success in the beginning, and that small success is essential to another success. So that is how success is achieved. You cannot achieve big success at a time, right? So you achieve a small success that will give you confidence, and based on certain learnings from that success, because to achieve that small success you would have gone through certain setbacks, failures, and that success will be another stepping stone or a launch pad for another success. The second step you have taken is coming out of your home, right? So it is easy to think big, staying in your home, in your very comfort zone, especially for girls, right? To convince your parents and to come to a city like Bengaluru, or those who go to Delhi also, right? Thinking big might be easy. There are people daydreaming about it, right, in their own comfort zones. But for you, it took certain conviction. So what is the meaning of conviction? Self-belief, right? Conviction is strong self-belief that, you thought that you are dreaming big. To achieve this big dream, it may be difficult for you to do alone at your home. So let me go to Bengaluru and join a coaching center or do self-study, right? Those who are watching online, they may be doing self-study also. So you have taken a second step, which is a bold step. For any success to happen, you have to come out of your comfort zone, right? So if you have read stories of all the great people, biographies, autobiographies, right? So the initiation, towards success begins by coming out of your comfort zone. So that you have done to some extent, right? So all of you are sitting here, with big dreams in your head. Everybody wants to become IAS, IPS. Some of you maybe Indian Foreign Service, right? Anyone Indian Foreign Service? Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. IPS? Very good. Indian Revenue Service? Oh, good. Indian Audit and Account Service? Indian Railway Management Service, IRMS? No? Railway Protection Force? Nobody, right? Everybody is dreaming big. IAS? If not IAS, IPS, if not IPS, maybe Indian Foreign Service. If not these three, then Indian Forest Service, right? If not Indian Forest Service, then KPSC, Revenue Service. That depends on your rank, right? But some people, they want to become AC, DYSP. Have you heard of KPSC? Right. What is it? Corrupt? What? Karnataka? Public Service Commission. No, actually I heard like corrupt. Is it because that is what we keep hearing, that is what we hear. Even if you mention K something, then it's corrupt. So it is in fact the most corrupt institution. So there is a fight going on, to reform that institution. I don't know like why we have allowed that institution to what? Not just stay corrupt, to grow more corrupt each passing year. So it is growing more corrupt and corrupt. It is not, becoming least corrupt. So anyway, keep it aside. My personal suggestion, when you are dreaming big, right? When you dreamt big, that was IAS, right? So usually what happens, you have dreamt big and you came to Bangalore and from here you start preparation. After one attempt, after two attempt, after three attempt, after four attempt. So the dream, the big dream, what happens? Right. So eventually it falls apart. The dream, so the level of dream comes lower, and then you start thinking about any government job first, and then KPSC or something, right? So that is what happens with most of the aspirants. So personally, my request, stay there. If you have dreamt big, IAS or something better than IAS, right? So when one dream, closes on you, when one door closes, so develop a habit to open another door, equal to that dream or bigger than that dream. So that is how you should challenge, the life rather than settling for anything less. So that is for later. So for now, coming back to where we started, right? So most of you want to become IAS, IPS and Indian Foreign Service. Maybe some of you want to become Indian Forest Service. So now to achieve that, if you are in the general category, your rank must be under All India rank 75, right? IAS, IPS somewhere in top 200 or 250 ranks, and then Indian Foreign Service again top 100. You need to be in top 100. So according to categories it varies, like OBC somewhere till 400 one will get IAS, till 500, 550 someone will get IPS, right? till 300, 350, someone will get Indian foreign service. So SC ST like 500, 600, 700 rank. So whatever. So you need to be in the list, and from the perspective of general candidate, even if you belong to category, I want you to to be competitive enough, right, to score in the range of general cutoff, right. That should be your dream. So because you have a category which is a social justice, what we call affirmative action, which is good, you should use it, you should make use of it, but so try to be in top 100, right. So that makes your success easier, right. So what we tell when you are thinking of IAS, right, KPSC naturally happens, any other government job naturally happens, right. So within IAS, when you are thinking of all India rank 1 or under top 10 rank, getting into the list becomes easy part. So your big dream of IAS should be associated with another big dream of topping the examination itself, right. And I truly believe, right, if you are willing, right, if you can continue to think big, and if you continue to the second action which you took, coming to Bangalore, similar to that, if you continue to take series of actions from now onwards, right. Some of you might have come from Gulbarga, Belgaum, Bidar, right, they are far away places. Here when you are in the Bangalore, right, if you continue to take series of actions, right, proportionate to the dream you have dreamt. So listen carefully, proportionate to your dream, your action, your words, your behavior, your conduct, everything must be proportionate to your dream. If they go smoothly, simultaneously, this cracking of this examination can happen within one attempt, and that too with a very good rank. The learning part, which you are going to do from tomorrow onwards, is the easiest part of the examination. Learning, right, coming to the classroom, listening to the lecture, for example the same lecture. So you will learn something, right, you will listen to so many tips, so many wisdom today. Listening, understanding is the easy part, but going back and implementing them, right. So that is why I mentioned the series of actions, right. So you have to be a person who implements what you learn in the classroom, right. So this is where the difference lies in cracking this examination, not cracking this examination, and then settling for lesser things in life, right. Ability to take action, right. This is the most fundamental aspect of success, especially this examination. When I began the class, so I told that everybody knows how to crack this examination, but where people lack is in implementing what they already know. You know that you have to be consistent. Can you stay consistent for next 700 days, right? Next 700 days, can you stay consistent? Consistency in terms of dreaming big, that is also part of the consistency, right? Your dream, when you are feeling low, when you are feeling demotivated, you should not feel like giving up. You should not feel like, going away from this place, right? You have to stay there. You will feel low, right? In that moment, you will feel like giving up, but again, can you bounce back immediately, right? That is also part of the consistency, right? Secondly, learning. There should be consistency in learning. So 1 week you learn well, you listen to the class, you read, right? And then you feel like, you're not understanding, it is taking longer time to understand, and it is difficult to do. Then you will take a break. And once you take a break, coming back from the break is very difficult, right? You might have experienced in your college days, right? So coming from break is very difficult. So ensure that there are only small breaks. So there should be consistency in terms of learning. So if you are learning every day for 8 to 10 hours, ensure that largely throughout the 700 days, at least 8 hours of study is done every day, right? Ensure, see, just ensuring these things. In those 8 hours, you may read well, you may not read well, right? Sometimes, but most of the times you will be doing well. But that consistency will ensure that you are far ahead of the competition. That consistency will ensure that you are far ahead of the competition, because you have to think pan India, considering competition, from Delhi to Kanyakumari, from east to west, right. So there are lakhs of students preparing for the examination, but past 10 years, based on my experience, based on my insights, understanding, I have been telling that throughout India, there may not be more than 5 to 6,000 people who are actually seriously preparing for this examination, right. Based on my experience, my understanding, I believe that there are not more than 5 or 6,000 people who are seriously preparing for this examination. Seriously, what I mean by seriously is that the kind of, qualities it takes, the kind of commitment, right, the kind of, I was talking about action, the consistency. So coming to those qualities, you will hardly find 5 to 6,000 people. And when people like 12 to 13,000 people write mains after clearing prelims, so you will see that like 3 to 4,000 of these people are part of that mains examination, right. Once you have cracked the examination, like let us say you didn't get IAS this time, so there are 180 IAS posts, right, 180 IAS, 200 IPS every year. I think last 5 years, that is the number of vacancies every year, 180 IAS and 200 IPS. So except for 180 IAS and around 45 Indian Foreign Service. So if you get into Indian Foreign Service, you cannot write examination again. You can quit IFS and write again, but again you cannot write examination while you are in the service. So 180 plus around 225. So out of 1,000 toppers in that year, excluding around 225, right, most of them want to again write the examination, right. Why? They want to improve service, they want to become IAS or IPS, right. For some of them it may be a last attempt, so excluding another maybe 100, you have 700 to 800 people from the toppers who might again attempt examination, and their success rate is high in cracking the preliminary examination, right. So in those 5 to 6,000 people, I include them also. And there are people who might have gone till interview in the previous attempt, right. So nearly 2,500 to 3,000 people go to interview, right. Every year 2,500 to 3,000 people give interview. So nearly, if 3,000 people are giving interview, 2,000 people are again preparing for the examination, right. So some of them may be, for them it may be last attempt, and then there is another 1,000, 1,500 students. You add them to the pool for this, for example, Civil Service 2025, and then there are 10 to 12,000 people who have written mains, might not have cracked the mains examination, but might have missed narrowly, right, maybe scoring low marks in optional, scoring low marks in essay or ethics paper, like that, right. So there may be another 2 to 3,000 such people, and then fresh addition to every year, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people, right. If you match to their commitment, who are already in the competition slightly ahead of you, right. So why the success rate is lowest in this examination is not because the examination is tough per se when it comes to writing and solving the question paper. It is because the kind of candidates who are there in the examination, in the competition, right, the pool of competitors, the tough competitors, right, their number is low basically, and you are going to compete with them, against them. So if you are dreaming really big, IAS and IPS, so my intention of telling this is not to scare you, right. My intention of telling you is that when you are really dreaming big, you have to understand the depth of the competition, and then slowly, steadily elevate your own personality, your own qualities, your own thinking level to the level of those who are already there, the tough people in the competition. So then it becomes easy for you to crack this examination in one attempt. And there is a way forward to be like them, to be like the people who are already good. So that is why you are in the coaching institution, right? So you are going to be taught how to write answers from day one. You are going to be taught how to write essays. You are going to be taught how to solve prelims question papers. You are going to be taught CSAT, how to solve CSAT problems, and then you are going to be taught every part of the syllabus, right? The knowledge component, the skills component, both of them will be together taken care in this institution. But as I have been telling again and again, you have to be ready for it. You have to be ready for learning constantly, ready to elevate, improve your skills. So that is the only way forward to crack this examination. So you don't have to be scared about anyone. You don't have to be scared about the competition, the toppers. What you need to do is that bring single-minded focus, right? Single-minded focus. So when you are here, don't think about anything else, right? Don't think about what is happening in your home, what is happening in your hometown, what is happening with your relatives, what is happening with your classmates, right? So what is happening with your batchmates, so college, right? You will feel like they are going ahead in their lives. After 1 year, after 2 years, you will feel like they are settling, they are doing well in their lives, they got a good job, good salary, you are still unemployed, right? Don't worry about them, don't bother about them, right? So when you are dreaming big, it takes, as I told earlier, series of setbacks, series of insults, series of humiliations, series of those periods where you feel like giving up. So these are all part of the journey. More than these things, it takes lots of patience, right? So once you achieve that, right, so what you have achieved will be far greater than the achievement of all of your batchmates combined together, right? In their own respect, for them that is an achievement, right? In terms of the impact you can have, I am talking about, I am not talking about in terms of salary, in terms of benefits you are going to achieve, in terms of impact you can have, right? A software may be earning, as an employee of Google, 1 crore or 2 crore every year, right? For some of you, like maybe your friends might have joined TCS or Wipro or Infosys, maybe earning 6 lakh per annum, 12 lakh, whatever it is. So when you become IAS and IPS, right, so you are going to be part of the steel frame. There are around 5,500 IAS officers in the country, right, overall, in a country of 1.42 billion people. So 142 crore people, their lives, how their lives are going to be improved, right? So all the benefits they get every day, if the traffic is working, if the Bengaluru is running smoothly, right? The administration, there are corruption, we agree, but largely if you look, there is no friction, there are no fights between, there is no civil war, right? Is there any civil war? Do we fight each other on streets? No, right? There is law and order, there is kind of development going on. So around 5,500 people, right, sitting at the helm of their own respective departments, offices, right, and in coordination with the help of their subordinates, because the credit should not go alone to the officers, right, but they are crucial in running this country, right? And you are dreaming such a big dream, you are going to be part of that group. So there is a word in English, cohort, C-O-H-O-R-T. Cohort means it's a small group of individuals, very powerful individuals. So the service is powerful because of the impact it can have, not because of the privileges and perks they get, the impact. So regarding that, all of you know more about, but why I am mentioning about this particular thing is that you have to, you cannot be normal here. You cannot be ordinary. What do you mean by normal is you cannot be ordinary in your behavior, in your thinking, right? The way you do work every day. So the moment you downgrade yourself, the actions, the learning, right? So you always fall behind in the competition. So if someone, that is why I mentioned single-minded focus. So if you are mindful of this particular fact, that you are not preparing for an ordinary post, that you are preparing for, I do call it an extraordinary post, but I will not say it is an elite post or anything, right? Again, because of the impact. So if you are constantly reminded about this, so when I was preparing, I used to dream, really, I used to daydream a lot. So I am here, I had prepared for the examination, I gave 4 attempts, wrote 3 mains, I gave UPSC interview in 2011, CSC 2010. So missed my rank by only 2 marks. Then I got selected into KS examination, KS in 2011. So I was commercial tax officer, I didn't join the service. By then insightsias was doing well, it had picked up. And then I was Panchayat Development Officer for 2 years. So in the first batch. So at grassroots level, I understood what were the things that were happening. And when I was preparing for IAS, I used to daydream a lot. I wanted to build homes, build hospitals, improve school education, wanted to ensure that everybody was going to get quality education, the child of the most poor people, right? The children of most vulnerable section. So I was dreaming that dream, they should get similar education to what people in international, so-called international schools were getting. I still keep thinking about it, that is the most haunting issue for me personally. So and that's the most important thing, because your success also depends on the kind of education you have got so far. Do you agree with me or not? Right. Your success also depends upon the kind of education you have got, the kind of educational institutions you have, right, attended, from where you got the education. So there is inequality. Of course, it is too idealistic to say that every institution should be equal, but institution may vary depending on the leaders it has, right, the people it has, but the quality of education, the curriculum, right, the content, the knowledge can be equal. So there we can ensure that everybody can get quality education. So that is, I used to dream like that. And to achieve that, there are only 2 ways. There are 3 ways basically. Whether you become IAS, one way is IAS, right? Second, start an NGO. There is a NGO Pratham I heard about. It every year releases ASER report, annual survey of education, right, in India. So it's a very impactful report, ASER report. So everybody refers to that, and there it highlights what is the educational level of children in India. So those who are studying in rural, those who are studying in government schools. So a child studying in 5th standard, what is his learning capabilities compared to the same child in an urban setup, in a better school, right? Or those who are studying in regional medium versus English medium. So the report is very comprehensive. I am just not telling even the very basic of it. So there is another way, through NGO you can have impact by telling the truth to the world, right? You do investigation, you come up with a report, and you tell the truth. You cannot have a direct impact unless you are a very rich NGO. Azim Premji University. Azim Premji, right? Azim Premji is one of the biggest philanthropists. So philanthropist is one who donates their excess wealth to a cause. So we have corporate social responsibility, right, as part of the legislation, CSR. Every company which is listed, which makes profit, above certain limit, should give certain portion, I think 2% of its, how much? 2%, I think. So of its revenue to social cause, maybe education, health or something. So the third way is politics, right? So become MLA, MP, and then minister, then you can do something about it. So when I was dreaming, it was a big dream, and all these 3 things are again big dreams. For a common man to go into that level and achieve it. So thankfully, the constitution provides such an option through UPSC, right, for everyone, for every citizen of this country to be part of that. Other two, you have to be lucky and you have to be rich, the other two options. Here this UPSC option, you don't have to be rich, right? You don't have to be lucky. So luck, people say is a factor, I don't believe in that. So you have to be with big ambition in your head, ready to change in accordance, in demand with the service, right? I won't say you change according to the demand of the examination. There is a difference, right? Changing yourself according to demand of the examination and according to demand of the service. So many people change. The moment they succeed in this examination, what happens? They fall back to who they used to be. They stop reading the Hindu newspaper, the moment. So I have seen, I think 90% of the toppers don't read newspapers once they crack this examination, right? So they were preparing for the examination. So if you continue, reading newspaper, if you continue reading books, if you continue writing stuff, maybe, articles here and there, blogging. So in this journey of 2 years, when you are here, you have to develop strong habits that will stay permanently with you, right? Reading, writing, and debating, discussing things communicating what you know clearly to the people. It's a very extremely important part as part of the interview, right? Nobody thinks about interview. Those who are preparing for this examination, you will watch videos, YouTube videos. So that is how some people are introduced to this examination, by watching toppers interview or the mock interviews. How many of you watched mock interviews? Mock interviews of toppers, before they became toppers. Okay, some of you watched. Right. So the examination is designed in such a way that prelims, mains and interview, before that 1, 2, 3, 4 years of preparation for the examination, the moment you go to interview, they should see a complete person in front of them, right? Sound in knowledge, right? Sound in judgment, right? Sound in decision making abilities, right? Good with communication. So you have learnt so much during the course of 2 years, 3 years. So in that moment, in 20 minutes, you have to show them who you are. That is the personality test, right? You have to reveal yourself to the board. So most of the people keep this interview back of their mind, they don't actually prepare for interview. Should naturally happen, but at the same time, it should consciously should also happen. Should happen naturally, by strengthening your own personality, the confidence, to speak in front of, very learned, wise people, right? You have to go to Delhi, you have to sit in UPSC, wait, and then go to interview hall. 5 people are sitting in front of you. You have to, and they have, combined together 5 people. They may be having an experience of how much? 150 years. So if 5 people have served India in different capacities, like 30 to 40 years, right? If they have served at least 30 years, they would have served more than 30 years. So you have 5 people in front of you, so they have experience of, right? So that is a wisdom sitting in front of you. So when you have to speak to them, you have to appeal to them, and it is not merely appealing to them, right? Impressing them. You have to engage them, right? So that 150 year of experience should be curious about you. They should feel like, they want to learn more, know more about you, right? Sometimes learn more from you also, from where you come from. You might come from a different culture which they were not part of, right? So they will have that mindset. Are you imagining what I am telling here? Is it making sense to you? Right? Because if this is not part of your dream, you are not preparing for the examination, you are not preparing for the service, and you are not preparing yourself, you are not improving yourself, right? This should be part of the job. Anything you learn from prelims, anything you learn from mains, anything you learn as part of the optional can be an interview question, but it should not learn thinking that it is going to be an interview question, right? it should be part of the, it should be continuous as part of your growth into the services as well, right? After 10 years also you should be able to say something about it, right? So that kind of learning is required to crack this examination. So superficial learning, knowing all the articles of the constitution, knowing all the Supreme Court important cases, right, without their context, without their significance, right, without their background, without the history, and without their implications, right. So is not learning, it is just rote learning, you are learning certain facts and examples, right. Anything that you learn, should stay with you. So we learn so many concepts, right. So going forward you learn concepts in polity, geography, economy, environment, history, art and culture, so many other subjects. So I have seen people struggling to understand and learn concepts, right. Eventually you will understand, you will learn different concepts, but you have to be ambitious here. The concepts you learn should not be a struggle for you, right. In the beginning it will be a struggle, to learn certain new economy concept or certain new geography concept which you have never heard about it. Once you learn your concept, the next part of the learning is application of those concepts, right, either through solving questions, either by writing answers, either by discussing about them, either by learning more about them from further standard textbooks. So what people do is that here they learn a concept and then they move to another concept. They stop at learning a concept. So this is the problem. I hope I am making sense to you, right. Listen very carefully, this is important because you will experience this. You are going to learn thousands of concepts, but you should know that out of all these thousands of concepts, which are the most important concepts. For that, keep at least 29 years of previous UPSC question papers always with you, right. That book must be always with you and you should always be looking into that book. Whether you have learnt a concept or not, keep looking at them. So the concept should become obvious. Listen to this carefully. The concept should become obvious. What is the meaning of obvious? What do I mean by this? Can somebody explain? The concept should become obvious. When you use it, it should be obvious. What do I mean by this? Very good. Good. It should be clear to you. Yes, please sit down. Not just very clear to you, it should come naturally to you, right. When you use it, when you apply it, it should come naturally. You don't have to struggle to recall, right. So every day you list all the new concepts you are learning, right. Ensure that you read them again and try to know under which context, right, these concepts are important, these concepts are used frequently. You are getting this point, because all of you are going to learn so many exciting, new, good concepts and things as part of this journey. You are going to be so much empowered, knowledge wise. But if the knowledge actually stays with you, right, you know how to use it in a very organic, natural way, you won't struggle writing an introduction, you won't be struggling to write a body, because struggling to write an answer is an indicator that you have struggled to understand a concept, right. You have struggled to understand what you have learnt actually. So when you know the things well, the answer naturally happens. People ask, how to write an introduction, how to write a conclusion, right. When you have learnt with a curiosity, right. So we don't learn with curiosity. So we learn because it is important for the examination. Getting the point? So we are not excited in learning new things, right. If learning involves curiosity, if learning involves indulgence, or like what do you call engagement with what you are learning, so the concepts will become obvious eventually, because you are learning to empower yourself, you are not learning to crack the examination. So that is what I meant. So concepts, when they become natural to you, that is when you can be really confident about the examination, because in prelims while solving a question, you will by instinct. There is something called intuition. What is intuition? What? Sit and answer, it's okay. Gut feeling, good. Intuition, have heard about that word. You have heard that word, right? Intuition, instinct, basic instinct, right? So you look at a question and then something suddenly tells you this could be the answer. Before you start thinking, right, a part of your mind will tell this is the answer. Has it happened to you? When you have seen any general knowledge question, multiple choice question, right, when somebody asks a question, right, so that is the intuition part of you, right. So in Kannada I think it is called as antakarana, the intuition, right. So intuition is also part of the judgment process. When you are solving a question, when you are writing something, when you are trying to tell somebody something, right. So that intuition part should be strengthened, right. How do you strengthen your intuition? So you strengthen your intuition by going through more experiences, right. So it's like elimination of all the experiences and coming up with the lesson you have learnt through a good experience and applying that. You are getting this point. Similar thing happens when you are solving a prelims question paper, right. So something tells you, okay, this is the right answer, and then you start applying logic. So that logic reinforces what your intuition has told you. So this could be the right answer. So the reason I am mentioning is that when your concepts should be obvious, when you are learning concepts, you have to frequently practice them. You have to go through experiences. So keep solving on a day-to-day basis, on a daily basis, at least 30 to 40 MCQs, right. So let us say they have completed a part of geography today, right. Let us say physical geography, in that they have talked something about landforms, right, how the rivers are created, what are the processes that river involves, what are the things that river creates in turn, right, something about rivers. So you go back, find at least 30 to 40 minimum I am talking about, it can be more than that. I am talking about every day, right, MCQs and also mains questions related to that, and on the same day, read what is taught in the class from the standard textbooks, from what you have written in the notebook, right, revise it and try to solve those questions, right. Keep repeating the process. So what I know is that people note down the things, they go back home, and because it is so hectic here, so sometimes you will have 6 hours of classes. So you miss out the part of solving, that is the practicing, that is the strengthening of your intuition, right, experiences. So our mind, where is mind? Where is your mind? There are so many philosophical theories about it. Where does mind reside? The sensible part of the brain. Okay. Where is your mind? Mind ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ? ಮನಸ್ಸು. ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲೈತಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸು? Where is it? Here or like here? No, I am just asking a question. I want to know. She said it is in brain. And what about you? Where is it? No, prajna antivalla, consciousness. Prajna, awareness. Consciousness means awareness. You are aware about yourself. You are aware about who you are, right? What are you made up of? You think about yourself. You dream about. So that is being aware, right? You are aware of your surroundings. So from where does that awareness come from? I am not deviating from the class. I am just asking. I am just curious. Right. So forget about mind and consciousness. So the mind should be stable. The mind should be concentrated. I said single-minded focus earlier, because this is your big dream. So what I was trying to say is that whenever you solve questions, whenever you think about a concept, whenever you think about applying a concept, so there is something called neuroelasticity. Have you heard about neuroelasticity? What is it? Very good. Good. So neuroelasticity, we think that the brain has already grown and it is matured, it has stopped growing further. So the mind doesn't, the brain doesn't grow in bigger size. What happens is that there are neural connections, right? So the more you are exposed to experiences, right? So here as part of learning, so more learning, more solving questions. Whenever there is a thought process involved, whenever you trigger your neurons, right? So they come together, they create new memories, right? So that stays with you actually, right? So we actually don't do that, right? We are trying to just put something into our memory, right? And then we struggle to recall during the examination. So that is what I meant by like strengthening intuition, in terms of it naturally behaving, naturally applying itself when the situation comes. So I am not talking only from the examination viewpoint, it is also from the viewpoint of solving a crisis, taking an important decision in your lives when you are struggling with something. So as part of the learning, you have to compulsorily give at least minimum 30% of every day into practicing what you are learning in the classroom every day. And then in a week, every Sunday we conduct a prelims test and a mains exam. So what I see is that three category of students. One category doesn't like to attend these tests because they haven't revised enough in a week, right? They haven't learnt enough in a week. So they think that they will learn everything and then later they will give the examination. So these are never going to crack this examination, this category. You will just pay the fees and you are paying PG fees, food fees, you are learning something that might be useful later for some other purpose, but you are never going to crack this examination. The category who believes that they want to keep learning, so that at certain point of their preparation they want to start giving the exam, because there is no end to learning. You don't know where to put the full stop, they will never give this examination. The second category, they want to give only like prelims exam, right? The mains answer writing is very tough, right? I don't know how to start, I don't know where to end, I don't know what to write in the body. So they keep giving prelims because it is easy, right? You come, there is a OMR sheet, there are questions in front of you, you read and you can bubble. So that is one category. The another category, they prelims, I will take care when the prelim examination is nearby. I want to write only answer writing. So what they do is that they keep giving mains test, they keep writing at the cost of ignoring the basics, the basic exercise. They think they are very smart. So that proportion is very small. And somebody writing both the test, the fourth category, I don't think doesn't exist regularly every week. If somebody does that, I think it is less than 2% looking at the overall competition. If somebody does that, giving both prelims and mains and writing daily answers every day, I can give in bond paper that you are going to crack this examination in 1 or 2 attempts, right? If you do every day, writing every day, solving every day questions, revising every day. Sometimes it can come at the cost of sleep, right? Sometimes you have to struggle, but if you can somehow do it to larger extent, keep doing it regularly, so you are compulsory, you are definitely going to crack this examination in 1 or 2 attempts. So next 52 weeks you are going to have more than 50 tests, and every once in 15 days, once in a month, in addition to weekly test, you will have lots of tests. And I believe we are the only institution who regularly give these tests and force you to write these tests. And then there is mentorship, right? Because doing this thing alone can become kind of directionless sometime. So you can go to a mentor, you can take your test copy, you can take your answers, you can show them, you can learn from them, and also you can be accountable to someone. So there is self accountability and there is accountability to the more experienced people, so that they know more about you and you learn more from them. So this accountability thing is also lacking in most of the aspirants. So whenever somebody comes for admission, I keep asking them this very simple question, that I ask like, where are you from? No, sit down, it's okay. Which branch? BA, BCom, BSc, engineering, MBA, MA in economics, okay. And what about you? In computer science, okay. So how many students were there in your class? 60 to 70 in your class? 70, good. So on an average 60 to 70, right? So the class size. So among these 60 to 70 students, how many of your classmates, including you, used to regularly approach your teachers, I want to improve? Honest answer. How many? 30. Yours is extraordinarily. I think I had asked the similar question for you, I don't know. And you? Honest answer. 15 to 20. So yours is next best institution. What about ordinary people? I mean, those who come from, huh? How many? No, don't say no one. At least there will be like 2 to 3 people, I think. Maybe 4 to 5 people, right? So depends on college also, depends on teachers also. If the teachers were really good with the students, right, they were approachable, they were friendly with the student, and they were indeed valuable, if they were really good with their subject, maybe there is more engagement with the teachers, right. So otherwise, out of 60, 70, 3, 4 people would regularly go visit and so tell me, sir, how to solve this problem, how to do something like, people bring the same mentality to this UPSC preparation also, right. So that is the problem. See, mentorship is an extremely important part of the process. So you may be the wisest, right, you may be brilliant, smartest, you might have got all the gold medals, scored highest in your respective courses during your college days, school days, but here this is different. So I will give you 2 examples. One is Jaydev. He got All India rank 5. He got All India rank 5. He was part of the OGP program in 2018. So in CSE 2018, he cracked the examination, 19th examination. He got All India rank 5. He was from National Law School. Have heard of National Law School, NLS, right? So even then he had chosen to, I am using the word even then because I believe the students are smart, and he was not everyone, but he was the smartest. He knew how to write because he had already published his articles in national and international law journals, right, in big reputed journals. So he was, he had this hobby called legal blogging or something, he used to blog regularly, and he was an international debater. So he had represented his college and India at international stages. But he was so sincere in meeting his mentors, including me. So I used to evaluate his essay regularly, and I used to evaluate not all the answers like ethics, and then I guided him fully for the interview. He didn't go for guidance anywhere. He relied on me and the institution for the interview guidance. So what used to strike me regularly was that this fellow was very brilliant. I knew that because the way he used to write, essay. And the essay used to be too brilliant in the sense that too technical, right, for the UPSC. UPSC is general studies. Essay is also labeled as general studies paper 1. If you look at the notification, it is mentioned as general studies paper 1. So I had to tell him that it needs to be bit generic, right, going with the demand of the examination. So he was sincere, he was humble, and he used to meet frequently the mentors, myself and Sudeep and Aditya. So he used to meet mentors regularly. If there was a problem with prelims, he would meet prelims mentor. If there was a problem with geography, meet geography subject expert. And then if there was some problem with essay or something, so every week he used to be consistent, right? He didn't clear prelims in his first attempt. Second attempt he cracked, and then he got All India rank 5. So then I used to keep thinking, right? So we invited him here for a talk. I think it is there on YouTube. So he told that humility was an important factor, right? I may be good with my domain, law, right? I might have learned so many things as part of the graduation in the college, right? Debating, writing, apart from law. But when it comes to UPSC, it was a new experience for me, right? I knew that you people were more experienced than me in this respect. So there was always more to learn from you, right? So there was another example, is junior Avinash Rao. He got rank 31 in his very first attempt, right? So he opted for Indian Foreign Service. So if he had opted IAS, he would have got Karnataka IAS because his rank was the highest that year from Karnataka. So he's in Paris right now, so in France. So he was also from National Law School, and he was equally brilliant, or more brilliant, and he had read so many books. So he learnt that lesson from Jaydev, that he had to be accountable to a mentor, learn from mentors. So he did the similar thing. So you can use mentor, to learn things that it takes lots of time for yourself to discover, right? You're getting the point. So you try to learn on your own, and you do experiments, it takes lots of time to learn on your own. So that learning period, the gap can be eliminated, it can be shortened. And when we say something, it is filtered out, right? So based on all the experiences, all the combinations we have seen. So we tell you the best thing, we recommend you the best thing. It can be choosing optional, it can be anything related to examination, right? Writing, solving question paper, whatever it is. So strategizing, making a plan, everything. So if you are not making use of the mentorship program, you are unnecessarily paying the fees at insightsias, right? This is the most important feature of insightsias. We have all the good mentors, and teachers themselves act as mentors. So Manjuna sir, after teaching polity, so he will be available. So he will sit in the cabin, you go show him answers, you talk to him. Next day again his class will be there. If you are in another batch, you can know that which batch is teaching. After the batch, you can come and approach. Sometimes they may not be available, but another day they are available. They are permanent faculties. They are not, the guest faculties from another institution, right? So it is up to you. So this habit of, not approaching people, to seek help with respect to learning better, you have to overcome and develop that ability. After saying this for every batch, every year, so there may be around 200 people sitting here, we hardly get 10 people, coming and talking to us. So this is the bitter truth, but our duty is to what? Tell this anyway, motivate you to do better. But if you make use of the mentors, if you make use of all the tools, the tests and evaluation, everything, it makes your preparation more streamlined. I don't tell that it is going to make preparation easy, but it will always be in the right direction, right? So this examination is more about changing who you are, right? From the present condition to acquiring all the skills, it's not that easy. Writing every answer every day is not easy. But somehow if you can motivate yourself and write answer every day, you are in those, in the bracket of those 5,000 to 6,000 people, right? Throughout India, you have the best chance of writing mains, going till interview and cracking the examination. So constantly think how I have to be in the bracket of those 5,000 to 6,000 people. So for that, you should have a target of certain numbers in your head embedded. So when it comes to mains examination, 900 out of 1750, scoring 900 in mains examination must be your target. You know about it, right? 900. So last 4 years, the topper, All India rank 1, their mains score is somewhere around 900. So last year it was 899, before that it was around 901, before that it was I think 907, before that I think it was 927. The mains out of how much? 1750, right? So you just write down few numbers, I will tell you what should be your individual targets, mains. Like essay, what should be the target marks? How much you should aspire to score in essay paper? What should be your target marks in essay paper? I will give you realistic targets. I won't give you, too idealistic targets. So 140, 140, 140 in essay paper out of 250. So all the paper are out of 250 marks, right? So 140. So somebody who scores 145 is the highest scorer in essay nowadays, right? There are rarely, I think, 5-10 people above 140. So keep 140 as your target marks for the essay paper. So you have to write 2 essays in 3 hours. So each essay 1200 marks. So when you write 2 essays, your target should be getting 140 marks, right? So 140. Very briefly I will tell how to achieve that in this orientation, right? Secondly, GS1, General Studies paper 1, 100. So nowadays last 2 years I am seeing that they are conservative in awarding marks in General Studies paper 1. Even the topper scores somewhere around 100. So 100 you can keep, right? Paper 2 you can keep 120. So General Studies paper 2. What do we have in General Studies paper 2? Yeah, so Indian polity, constitution, social justice, governance and international relations, right? So 120 marks in paper 2. Paper 3, again you can keep 100 as your target, 100. So what do we have in paper 3? Economy, right? Agriculture, science and technology, environment, disaster management and security issues, right? So this is the General Studies paper 3, you can keep 100 again. So these are the realistic targets, you can cross them, you can score more than them, plus 10 or plus 20, 100 in paper 3. So paper 4, so you can keep 130, people have scored 140 plus, so let us say that 130 in paper 4, that is ethics and integrity, right? So you can keep at 130. Optional 280. In any optional you can score 280, highest marks. So there are optionals where people have scored 300 plus, 310 plus, right? Like political science, sociology, anthropology. And in optionals like Kannada literature, 285 was the highest. It has been the highest, around 280 to 290. So 280, right? Now you calculate, what is the total of all these marks that you have written down. Count again. 870, right? So 30 marks less than the All India rank 1, right? But if you score 215 plus 870, what is 215? Interview score out of 275. So how much it comes? 215 plus 870. 1085. Yeah. So it is the I think marks of All India rank 3 last year, right? Is the marks of All India rank 2 or rank 3, you can check it out, right? So 215 is like too ambitious, right? Interview, so only 1 or 2 people are given every year. So even if you keep 190 plus 870, still you are in top 30 or top 40, all India rank top 30, right? 870 plus 190 in interview, right? So basically these are the mains plus interview numbers. So in prelims, you know that paper 1, your target should be minimum 100 in paper 1, but keep thinking about 90, that is the threshold, right? Never keep thinking that only you should cross only 70, 66.6. The moment you lower your ambition within your mind, so that is how it manifests, that is how your preparation level, your actions, right? The moment you elevate, say that 90 must be minimum, right? At least you will end up scoring 70 or 80 marks. So CSAT 90 and paper 1 100. So the cutoff could be somewhere around 86, 87 this year. That is what I am thinking. Somewhere between 85 to 90. But plus 10, safe, somewhere around 100. So will give you mental pace to prepare for the mains examination. So these numbers are extremely important. So you cannot move randomly towards your goal, right? You cannot prepare randomly towards your goal. When you are preparing for essay paper, within you, you must have this constant desire, right, to start scoring 140. How? When you show to your mentor, and whenever I am available, when you show to me, when you show one essay, your target should be getting 70 plus or 65 plus from me, right? So if I am not boasting here, this is the reality when it comes to this exam. Wherever I have given, if I have given 65, if I have given 70 marks to you, majority of the time, almost every time, the candidate has scored similar marks in the real examination, right? So if you score 65 to 70 from me, right, that is when you are in the range of 140 plus. Similarly, when you keep giving weekly test, right, you can say plus or minus 5, plus or minus 10 also, right, weekly test and full length test when you give. So if you score 80 in our test, full length, when you answer 20 questions, or if you score 90 or 100, so you can say that plus or minus 10, you are in that range. So when you write next test, keep this number. Such a GS1 test you are writing, 100 or 100 and above must be your target. So if you are writing only 10 answers out of 20, so can I write 10 answers, even then can I score somewhere around 60 or 70, so that when I answer eventually 20 questions, it is somewhere 100 plus, right? So without having these targets, and when you don't have this target, day-to-day routine will be similar, targetless. So weekly test, you will always get scared. You always feel unprepared for it, right? So these are the numbers why everyone is sitting here, right? Going with the larger argument, you are preparing for the service, but before you enter service, these numbers are very important. So to score 140 plus in essay, so there are few basic requirements, right? What you need to do is that compulsorily read editorials every day, right? This is something non-negotiable. My suggestion, bit ambitious, read editorials from 3 newspapers, but start with 1 newspaper. At least for next 4 to 5 months, stick to 1 newspaper, read editorials, sometimes all the time related to syllabus, sometimes not related to syllabus, based on your interest, right? So you may be interested so much in psychology or something, so there may be an editorial related to psychology of something, so you may read out of interest. So don't always be exam specific when you are reading editorials. So why you are reading editorials is to enhance your own thinking abilities, critical thinking, what we call analytical thinking, right? So these are 2 extremely important thinking process you have to develop. So otherwise what you write will be mere facts in the essay, mere examples, not the arguments, not the ideas. So why you need to read editorials as part of overall exam preparation, especially essay, is that you need to strengthen your thinking in the direction of thinking about new ideas, right? Your thinking should be diverse, rich. Your thinking should come up with new ideas, new arguments. So we give you a topic. Essay is not justification of the topic, right? Listen to this. Essay is not justification of the topic. So what people think is that we give you a topic, and most of the people, when they start writing essay, they go on justifying the same topic with different examples, different stories, different anecdotes. You are getting this point. So for example, necessity is mother of invention. If this is the topic, right? Necessity is mother of invention, if this is the topic. So what people do is that, what? Traveling necessitated invention of wheel, right? Traveling faster necessitated invention of what? Engine or something, right? So something necessitated invention of this, that. So you are giving 10 different examples from 10 different parts of our lives, right? So what is the idea here? Necessity is giving what? Is the mother of invention, because there is something necessary, that is when humans are pushed to invent something. That is what the topic says. So if somebody writes the essay, they keep on writing the same idea with different examples, right? That is not the essay. You got it? That is not the essay. Essay is, brainstorming. You have to come up with ideas related to the topic, right? So ask very basic question like, what is the meaning of necessity, right? So why do humans have more necessities compared to other beings, right? And what this necessity has done? Of course, it has given rise to inventions. What kind of inventions? What is the nature of these inventions, right? Beyond necessity, what is the purpose of these inventions? Have they crossed, the utility? Beyond necessity, they may be serving other purposes, right? Our inventions. You are getting the point. So all these questions involve what? They involve thinking, right? You have to creatively think, you have to critically think. Critical thinking is what? What is the meaning of critical thinking? The meaning of critical thinking is, asking right questions in your mind and finding answers. You have to be objective in your thinking. You have to, objective means unbiased, right? At the same time, you cannot accept what is given to you, what is served to you. You have to question, right? So that is the critical thinking, vimarshatmaka, right? So you are critical in the sense that you ask right questions, you don't accept its face value, right? And then you are objective in your thinking, that is unbiased in your thinking, right? And then you have your own opinion. To simply put, critical thinking is where you have your own opinion. So developing your own opinion requires certain, stimulation to your own thinking. So that comes from editorials. So when you start reading editorials, when you start understanding what they are telling, you will start noticing that parallelly you are thinking of your own ideas, right? Has it started happening to anyone here? Anyone reading editorials or any novels or non-fiction books? No? Does it occur to you when you are reading, you have your own parallel thoughts, right? So those parallel thoughts are very important, right? They strengthen your thinking. So when you start writing essay, those are the original thoughts, your own thoughts. So as evaluators are looking for originality in the essay. Essay definition is your opinion on the topic. So in a diverse way, you are putting your opinions. So analytical thinking is ability to look deeply, right, into the minute details of the issue, every angle of the issue, vishleshana, right, analysis. So when you analyze something, what do? You break issue into parts, multiple parts, right? And try to examine them very closely, try to establish linkages between them, right? So one issue might have so many factors: social, economic, political, environmental, ecological, legal, psychological, technological, right? So you look very closely into the issue, that is the analysis. So that you will develop only by reading actual analysis. You know how people, when somebody writes opinion article in the Hindu, right, they are not the ordinary people, right? They would have learnt so much about that particular subject, right? They are filtering out and they are writing what is important. So when you read them, you start understanding, you know, how they write and how you can write. That also motivates you to write. I see people not reading editorials but watching YouTube videos to understand editorials. So that is downgrading your thinking abilities, right? So you constantly downgrade, there is no thinking involved. Something is supplied in a ready-made way for you to, you know, consume. Don't do that, please. Even if it is hard, even if it is difficult, develop, you know, reading good literature in the sense good stuff. So it will improve your thinking, it will improve your vocabulary. You will start noticing that when you start writing essays, some words naturally come to you. When you start writing essays, when you read standard articles, they naturally flow in. You don't have to sometimes look into dictionary, because you would have read that particular word in particular context so many times, right? When that context comes, when you are writing something, that word naturally comes to you. Did you get this point? Did you understand this particular point, right? So vocabulary consciously improves and also subconsciously. And then your comprehension, the CSAT paper. I believe if you read editorials of 2 to 3 papers every day, you don't have to prepare for 40 questions in paper 2 separately. Comprehension, the CSAT paper, right? So your English will be good enough to get at least 25 to 30 questions straight away right in the comprehension section, right? And we have something called Secure Initiative on our website, Insights Secure Initiative. So we got All India Rank 1, we got All India Rank 5, we got All India Rank 3 as part of the classroom students, because they had enough confidence to answer questions given in our daily secure answer rating initiative, right? So the secure answer rating, what we do is that we give 7 to 8 questions picked from that day's editorials, right? If the editorial is talking about women empowerment, right? If it is talking about stronger legal measures to punish people, right? Swift justice for, you know, rape victims, right? So we frame a question, very broad question, linking with women empowerment, linking with, you know, the larger idea of justice, linking it with constitution, previous law, something like that. So we give at least 6 to 7 or sometimes 7 to 8 questions. You start reading editorials, start understanding them, right? Start analyzing them, and then start answering these questions. In your own words, what you understood from editorial, writing answers to secure initiative. Every day 2 answers. You can start with 1 answer, right? So this is apart from what you are learning in the classroom. And also remove from your head everything will be taught in the classroom, right? So when you succeed, you will realize that you have succeeded mainly because of your own efforts, right? The efforts put outside the classroom, right? Here we teach concept, we teach basic things, we teach what to do, but the effort outside the classroom. So writing 1 or 2 answers every day will ensure that you are near to achieving the target of 900 marks in the mains examination, right? And it will give you courage to answer weekly test, monthly test. You won't feel like skipping. You will be more motivated to go and attend the test. So the essay is also connected with answer writing, right? So improve your ability of thinking, then you will get the courage to write essay. So we will have separate essay classes for you to, you know, we will tell you what is introduction, how to write, what to write in introduction, what to write in body. So those classes we will handle separately. So this is not the, this is just a orientation class. And every Sunday the Hindu also comes up with a supplementary edition called, what is? Magazine, right? Magazine. So every Sunday it has a supplement named magazine, Sunday magazine. 99% of the UPSC aspirants don't read this, right? So you read it and I am sure you will definitely score 140 plus in the essay paper. It has all the ingredients to help you come up with more original examples, more original ideas, right? So they are far better than daily editorials in the sense that they touch on certain issues. For example, at least 3 books are reviewed in every Sunday magazine, right? So books released during that week, important books, so they are reviewed. So you will learn about 3 totally new things, right? So again, what are the ideas that are put forth by these authors of these books? So book reviews, and you may be motivated to take up the book and read also. And front page, entire front page, they will in-depth analyze the most important issue of that week related to society, art, culture, right? So once you start reading them, you will know that how to start an argument, how to build an argument, how to end an argument, right? It naturally happens. So be those 1% of the candidates who read this Sunday magazine, right? It takes 1 hour or 2 hours, and practically speaking, because 99.9% of you haven't read any English newspapers in your lives consistently so far. Am I right? Any 1 or 2 people who have been reading newspaper at least for last 4 to 5 years? Any one English newspaper reading it for last 4 to 5 years? 3 years, very good. 1 year? 1 month? So once you came to Bengaluru, you might have started, right? Good. So there is nothing wrong in it. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a, something that you should be ashamed of, right? So this is how our education system is. It never allows you to explore anything beyond the curriculum, right? It doesn't motivate you. The teachers will never tell you, even if they tell, they will just force you. It is important for the exam, read. It is important for competitive exam, read. They won't reason with you, why it is important. And they will be telling you, but they will not be doing it, right? And you won't be enough motivated. 10th, you don't have time to read newspapers. 11th and 12th, even if you have time, you don't want to read them. Why? Why? Because you want to become what? At that time, 11th and 12th, what do you want to become? Mostly? If you are born in Karnataka, mostly in doctor or engineer, mostly, right? Otherwise, I don't know, like if somebody had clarity in the 10th standard itself, that number is very less, right? Largely it is doctors, engineers, CA or lawyers, even that is also very less, lawyers. Mostly it is doctors and engineers. So you want to write NEET, you want to write CET, and you want to write IIT entrance, and you want to get it into best engineering college, have a strong plan B, and then start exploring other options, right? Is it wrong to fill this dream of IAS in the heads of the people? What do you think? Is it wrong? I want your honest answer. Let us say if I go to a school, a government school or a private school, so children are studying in 9th and 8th standard, 10th standard. So of course I am not going to tell them to take coaching or anything. I never do that. So I'll ask them to dream big. Maybe you can think of becoming IAS, IPS, maybe you can think of becoming astronaut, right? But what if I say, think big and try to become IAS? Is it wrong thing to say? Why no? Many said no. Why no? Hmm? Hmm. It makes you think big. Then give me 3 reasons. Or do you feel like, wish somebody had told me when I was in 8th, 9th standard, you know, to become IAS, you should read newspapers regularly, the way it should be read. You should be participating in extracurricular activities regularly. You should have developed interest in reading extra books, more deep interest in general knowledge. Do you wish somebody would have guided you properly? No? Yes or no? No. Why? Somebody said no. Because he wanted to focus on board exams, competitive exams. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ತಿಂಡಿ ತಿಂದಿದ್ದೀರಾ? Right, you have to speak, you have to ask questions, you have to talk. You are not dreaming ordinary dream, right? Imagine you are like DC, you are the only person who will talk. You won't allow anyone to talk. So you want to be a very good officer, you want to be a good listener. Yes. Right. So where was I? Why were we having this conversation? So basically we came there because you were never encouraged to read newspapers, right, during your school days. Kannada odirtira like Prajavani, Vijayavani, right, Vijay Karnataka. You might have read now and then, but not seriously. Again, their editorials you don't read. Mainly sports, especially movies, and then crime news, like all the different varieties of crimes, right? So that is what news channels serve us every day. Darshan story still going on. I mean, still getting more. So I was thinking other day, like, why do these channels show most of their air time? Only this particular story. So my question was, do people really watch it? So whenever I feel like, sometimes to watch some news, we switch on, there is something related to Darshan or something related to S.T. Kumaraswamy or something, the fight, the ongoing fight, or something related to what? Muda. So yes, whatever it is, there is nothing informative, something that makes people become better human beings, constructive, right? So then we switch off and then we go to Netflix or Hotstar, put on a movie and you start watching. So this is what happens, morning after reading newspaper I switch on, thinking that TV9, suddenly we open TV9. So then suddenly there is a bomb blast of this bad news, then you change into something else, right? So that is another reason, why it doesn't motivate people living in our homes, right? Think beyond these things, right? So we are losing that creativity, we are losing that interest in developing higher tastes. Higher taste means like reading books, right, traveling, right, reading good newspapers, watching good stuff on TV. So we are losing that and it is impacting our children also. So and then we have big dream, but the way we are growing up is not preparing us to achieve that big dream. So this is what is happening. So here, at least when you are in the competition, ensure that you are away from all these particular things, right? So essay, editorials, the Sunday magazine, right? From now onwards, be consistent and read the hard copy, and you yourself understand. If you are not understanding, open YouTube, open internet, understand the concept, have a dictionary with you. Any new word you come across, make a list of all those words in separate notebook, right? Know the meaning of it, both English and the Kannada meaning of, or any language you come from, right? So know the meaning of it in your own mother tongue, and also this synonym, alternative word. So keep doing this exercise. Eventually after 6-7 months, the same words keep getting repeated. You don't have to learn new words. For example, when we are reading newspaper right now, right? So in a week, I might come across 5 to 6 new words, totally new words, right? So somebody who has learned better than us may not come across any new word at all, right? So when you start reading again and again, so in a month, in the beginning, you might note down hundreds of new words, right? So after 3-4 months, it will get reduced to some 50-60s, and then after 6 months, so it will be like, every week some 10-15 new words. So this is important. Language is the most powerful weapon, tool. So the stronger your language capability, right, the stronger you can, more effective you can communicate your views. The language, don't dilute your language, right? So we come from Kannada medium, we come from English medium, but not English medium, right? So so we come from kind of mixed medium. So here, learn better English, right? And at the same time, learn better Kannada also, right? My suggestion, read Kannada editorials also, right? It actually sharpens your thinking. Your thinking will always be rooted, in your original thought process. At the same time, you will start thinking in English also, right? So the diversity will be there, and it will be more sharper compared to just reading in one language, because you know how to put in different contexts, right? How to link up with so many different issues, local, national, international. Essay, is it clear? This is the most important thing. And coming to GS 1, 2, 3, right? These are the specialized subjects, starting with art and culture, Indian history, world history, and then till the security issues in paper 3, right? So these are all concepts heavy topics. So as I was earlier discussing, not merely knowing concepts, but ability to apply concepts organically, developing that habit based on knowing which concepts are most important, because you cannot learn all the concepts equally well, right? So you should know which are the most important. So keep previous year question papers as your companion, keep analyzing them, and everyday answer writing will help you improve your writing. Speed will improve, presentation structuring will improve. Content always depends on the multiple revisions, how well you have understood, right? So every day we are giving you that opportunity, both on our website and in the classroom. You have to do that and show to your mentors. So ethics and integrity, there is a separate teacher, and they will teach ethics and integrity. You have 2 sections in ethics paper, you know that. Section A, you have around 13 questions, so they are descriptive, so 150 word each for all these 13 questions. So in 150 word, you have to answer like 3 to 4 different types of questions. So there are quote based questions. They give around 3 to 4 quotes, quote by Thiruvalluvar or Plato or APJ Abdul Kalam, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi ji, Socrates, right? So you have to, and then they will give you a direction also, right? So what does this quote mean to you, right? Right, and meaning of this quote in the context of public service today, right? In the context of things happening in the society today, something like that. So these 150 word is nothing but the short form of 1200 word essay. So there also you are writing opinion, here also you are writing opinion in 150 words, but directly you are hitting the ideas, right? You are not explaining an example, you are not elaborating, right? So writing essay will eventually prepare you to that kind of process, but writing practice regularly will help you that how to make your ideas more concise, right? Very precise, within 150 words. So then there are other questions. What does happiness mean to you? What is the meaning of probity? How do you define integrity? right? Today's youth are not motivated to join politics. This question has come in the past. So what is the way forward, right? So there is increasing corruption, or perception among public that there is increasing corruption in the public service. So what is the remedy for it, right? These are kind of concepts questions plus its application and your opinion. So you don't have to read, apart from the concept, you have to just think based on your common sense and start writing. So this also, we have something called 75 days ethics plan, and also last 11 to 12 years, it was introduced in 2013. So last 10 years ethics question papers, right? You take them and keep looking at them once in a week at least. Even when ethics is going to be taught later, ensure that every week you are in touch with some part of the ethics syllabus, so that if you come across something related to ethics in newspapers, right? So ethics need not be only ethics specific article. So there may be, for example, now there is increasing perception, right? The public morality is degrading in India, right? So we have increasing cases of rapes, increasing cases of corruption everywhere. So there may be a general argument, the public morality in India is degrading, right? So what is your view on this, right? So you may have to define what is morality. You may have to define what is public morality. What is the difference between public morality and societal morality? Why do you think it is coming down, right? So you have to give the reasons or something, right? So there may be an editorial or something on this particular thing, so that will stimulate your ideas. So keep looking in daily newspapers anything that is related to syllabus. So for that you should always be equipped on a daily basis. So keep looking at these questions and keep thinking about it. And optional, make a right choice of optional, because that can save you minimum 3 years of your preparation, right? I mean, if you choose a wrong optional, it will waste 3 years of your preparation. You know how? So let us say you have taken a wrong optional and you prepare well, clear prelims next year and write mains, and when the mains marks comes in 2026 April, right, after the interview, after the result, around May it will come. So you are in the September, right, end of August, and then you write 25, you clear prelims, wrong optional. When the marks come out, you will know that you scored extremely low in optional. By the time optional marks are out, by the time the marks are out, you would have already applied for the 26 examination with the same optional, right? So now there are two choices, options. One, continue with the same optional, write 26th attempt, thinking that you are going to improve your marks in those 3 months after prelims. You might have already worked on it, but that is what you are thinking, right? So another option is skip that year, change optional, prepare for new optional, and then give exam in when? 27. So by the time 27 cycle completes, it is already 3 years, right? So again, if you continue with the same optional, thinking that you are going to improve, and then you realize, add another extra year or extra 2 years, right? So choose right optional based not only on your interest. Some people come and tell, I will take mathematics because I studied mathematics in BSc, or I studied mathematics in the first year of my engineering, right? Strictly no. Even if you are from IIT integrated mathematics, my personal suggestion is don't go with mathematics unless you are right now in a position to solve the question paper. Before you start your coaching, if you are in a position to, because if you are from IIT or if you are from NIT, if you are from good engineering college, or even without good engineering college, if you are good with the mathematics, so right now you should be in a position to, I am not asking to top, right, at least 30-40% of the paper you should be familiar with, you should be able to answer the question. The logic here is that mathematics will take 5 to 6 years, 5 to 6 hours every day to master it for next 3 to 4 years, right. I have seen the best of the minds, coming from top IITs, struggling for minimum 3 years to score 270 plus or 260 plus, right. So you haven't started reading newspaper, you are not good with GS, so you should be investing more time in the GS paper compared to optional. 1250 is a bigger number or 500 is a bigger number, right. So let us say that earlier we were discussing about marks, right, 900. So we came at 870, right, with 280. 870 with 280 marks in optional. So if you score 210 in optional, so now the marks is 800. 800 plus 200 in interview, you are in top 100. 800 in mains, 200 in interview, you are in top 100, 190 you are in top 150, 185 you are in top 200 or 250 in interview, right. Only 200 in optional, provided you score 140 and 135 in essay and ethics respectively, right. Does it make sense? I mean, does it make sense to you? Scoring somewhere around 600 in GS papers, all the GS papers combined, and 200 in optional. So where you lag behind currently is in 1250 marks. You absolutely don't have any idea about how to go about these papers, right. You know something about polity, geography, right. So that is not the thing, showing it on the paper, right. So that is the most important thing. So you lack because you haven't come with any kind of preparation. You haven't read any non-fiction or fiction, you haven't read newspapers apart from school days till 10th standard. After that, you haven't read geography, you haven't read history, art and culture, economy, polity. Have you done that? Right. So when you choose optional, the common sense is that the time you are going to give for optional should be minimum, the time you should giving for GS should be maximum, right. Based on this logic, you go with the optional subject. This is one logic. Second logic, there are good optionals and so called bad optionals. Bad optionals, what do we mean by bad optional? The subject is not bad per se, but the subject is really good, interesting. For some reasons, you don't see anyone scoring above 300 or even above 280 or 270 in certain optionals in most of the years, right. So somebody scoring highest marks in that particular optional may come with the same background. Let us say philosophy optional. They may have philosophy background, may not be having philosophy background, but they might have scored 280 as the highest marks, right. So if they have scored 280 highest marks, there may be so much effort behind that, right. So you have to compare to that effort when you are preparing for the optional, how much you are going to score compared to the best prepared individual who is scoring 280 and you, right. So like philosophy, right, psychology, history, economics, to some extent economics you have to be, masters. So this is some kind of a technical thing involved in economics paper. So at master's level it is asked. So don't think about economics, history, philosophy and mathematics, right. So instead the popular optionals like political science, sociology, anthropology. But if you are adamant and if you want to really go with your professional subject like zoology, botany, physics, chemistry, mathematics, law, medical science, the only logic is that during the period which you have studied this subject, you should have mastered them. You should have mastered them, and the effort you are going to put right now should be minimal, right. Or other way around, during your graduation you would have completed all the GS papers so that you can give rest of the time only for these optionals, during this coaching time. Anyway, you are going to study for maximum 8 hours in the beginning, that should eventually increase to 10 to 12 hours. So out of 8 hours, if you are spending 4 to 5 hours only in optional, right, so it doesn't make any sense. And on the other hand, if you are thinking about Indian Forest Service, and if you come from background of like horticulture, agriculture, science, right? So then you can go with that particular optional, right? But again, if you are strongly oriented towards Indian Forest Service, but also you want to give civil service, so then you can go with, but still I won't suggest physics, chemistry at any cost. Botany, zoology, you can think about it, right? But all these subjects you will never get any kind of guidance, even in Delhi also, even in Hyderabad, even in Bengaluru, right? So you are on your own. There is a limited guidance available, right? And I am not sure about the quality of the guidance, right? And also when you are among the students, you won't find any people to discuss about them, to show your answers, to exchange copies, so to discuss. So you won't get any students here. So that is also there. So that is why be very careful with optional subject, and your target should be 280. Even if you achieve 250 to 260, still you can be an IAS officer. So enough, enough confidence to score 250 or 260 in the optional, right? Which optional? You haven't decided. What about you? Anthro or geography? Good. You? And what about you? Good. You haven't decided. You? Okay. You? Anthropology. Kannada literature. Good. So how many of you are undecided about optional subject? So regarding optional, there are two ways right now. I mean, you are starting in the month of September right now, almost. Now coming to the overall strategy of the examination, right? Before that, whichever optional you choose, prepare answers for last minimum 10 years, maximum 20 years of questions. Whichever optional, if it is Kannada or if it is anthropology, maximum 20 years and minimum 10 years. Minimum 60% of the questions are going to be repeated, as it is in most of the optionals, right? So if you prepare for 20 years, minimum 60% of the questions are going to be repeated. So 20 years means on an average 20 questions in a paper, so around 400 questions. So you prepare answers for 400 questions, keep them ready. From there 60% you can go and reproduce in the exam. The answers must be best, content must be drawn from the best of the resources, not just from coaching notes. You should study original textbooks, right? From original textbooks you should derive the content, not books written by toppers, not books written by coaching institutions, and not the coaching notes. In addition, you should refer to them. In addition to them, you also refer to standard textbooks. So most of the optional papers are kind of leaked question papers, right? So out of 500, all you need to score is 60% again, right? To be a topper, how much you have to score? 60%, 300, right? In optional, if you want to be a topper, you have to score 300. If you already know answers to 60% of the question paper beforehand, before giving the examination, isn't it easy to score 250 plus? It is easy, right? So any optional you choose, previous year questions are the master blueprint. So prepare answers to each and every question. That is what people like Jaydev, he did like 20 years. He never went for law, coaching. So I used to tell him, go for political science. So he was like comfortable, sir, like 20-year questions, that is where questions are coming from. I know answers to most of the questions. So all I need is 270, 280. He scored 265 or something. Very smart. He never studied for law optional, right? So he was studying mostly for GS part where it was lacking. So that is how you should be. So don't be adamant like I will go with mathematics. You are not here to impress anyone, right? So Kanisha Kataria scored, of course, good. So brilliant mind. So you cannot be Kanisha Kataria, right? So his thinking, his problem solving skill, mathematics, acumen, aptitude, maybe next level you might have scored. But just because he scored 360 something, everybody should not start taking. So there is a topper who scored history and rank 1 with history optional. So I think she has masters in history from Delhi University, BA honors in history. You cannot compete with her. She might have read all the books by Romila Thapar, right? Romila Thapar, what do you say that she's authority on ancient India. She would have read all big books. You will never read even 10 pages of that book when you take history optional, right? You will read some coaching institution material, right? So don't go with this, don't have herd mentality, be original. Based on your individualistic capabilities, go with the optional, right? So I was talking about two things with respect to the longer strategy. So because you are starting in September, one thing is that my personal recommendation is that give examination in 2026, right? So that you can go on implementing whatever things I was telling, you'll get more time, right? So you can skip optional right now, focus only on the GS part till next year June, and then start enrolling for an optional. Usually 4 to 5 months is the duration for any optional, right? So even if you start in July, August, September, October, so next October you will have enough time by then. By then you would have completed comprehensively all the GS papers. So otherwise, if you enroll for optional, again you may have to sit in the classroom itself for at least 8 to 9 hours, right? So if you decide in this way, only read the basics every day by yourself, do the self-study part, right? Based on your general understanding. If it is sociology, start reading basic NCERT books, right? So if it is Kannada literature, read books that are recommended in the syllabus by yourself. So then you can go for the coaching. So on the other hand, going for the tougher route. So if you want to give in 25 itself, you have to take optional in the current year itself, right? But you will have to give minimum 12 hours every day. In the classroom 9 hours, and then at least minimum 3 to 4 hours outside the classroom, right, to revise it. So but by January you will be done with optional through coaching, and you will have lots of GS, right? You would have completed everything, but I am not sure if you will be ready for the examination, right? You will be ready for maybe to crack the preliminary examination. I am not sure about the mains, because to write 2 answers every day, it will take at least 2 hours in the beginning, which I was recommending earlier, right? So reading papers, writing answers every day, solving 30-40 prelims questions, which I was telling, revising the class notes. I think minimum it will take 6 hours, right? So you think about it, don't stress yourself. You have to enjoy the entire process, and it is going to make you a lot better person, right? Not in terms of just behavior internally, a very strong person, and be open to that, right? Be open to every experiences that you are going to experience in the course of this preparation. Don't resist, right? Don't be rigid about them. Failure, accept. You don't score well in prelims, don't understand something in class, don't understand by yourself, it's okay. Don't criticize yourself, don't doubt yourself, right? Try again. You have to keep trying again and again and again till you start understanding, start getting better at that particular thing. So, and also everyone comes from different educational background, different socio-economic background. So all of you are not standing on an equal pedestal, equal standing, right, in terms of capabilities. For some it takes more time, for some it takes less time to improve in certain things, and it's very natural, right? Don't compare with others. So eventually you start comparing, one person sitting next to you is already writing better answers, writing good essays. So that is because they might have got that kind of education, that kind of exposure, back in school or college days, right? So I came from Navodaya school, I studied in Navodaya school, 6th to 12th standard. So we were made to write essays in Navodaya school. We were we were part of regular debate competitions. We were part of debate. I never participated. Stage. So I was part of quiz. I used to participate in writing competitions. So when I came into UPSC preparation, I was good with writing naturally. Right. I didn't have to struggle. But we never spoke a single English word in Navodaya school. Our principal would be strict. Speak in English. Speak in English. So everybody from rural part of Karnataka, we would speak only in Kannada. Even if they beat us, only Kannada, right? So that is what I meant, so-called English medium English schools. But we were taught English, to write. Our teachers used to speak in English, so we understood well. So some of you may not be coming from that kind of background, right? So directly you will be coming and writing something. So it will take some extra effort for you to improve. So don't get demotivated by it, right? Put efforts. Always try to be the best. When you have best people around you, try to beat them. Try to beat them. Try to overtake them instead of getting intimidated by them. Getting intimidated means you get discouraged. You feel like there is a tough competition here, right? Someone is already far better than me here, so I don't think my chances are good. Never ever do this kind of self-talk. Never ever think like this, right? So any progress you make, when you know the best. So 900 is the benchmark I talked about, right? So keep trying towards that particular thing. So don't look at other people. So your benchmark is these numbers, and ultimately you are the competitor, right? You always want to be what? The best version of yourself. Every week, 1 week after another week, you want to be the best version of yourself. Your thinking has improved, your communication has improved, your writing has improved, your ability to understand certain things has improved, right? You should feel it. So that is the source of confidence. That will give you confidence, and it won't be consistent also. So during geography, you will be at like peak level. You have understood everything. Suddenly economy comes and again it will go down. So again you will have to struggle. From again there you have to start from zero, and then you have to struggle. So it is like a sine wave. It is not like exponential constantly. But what will be exponential is certain underlying qualities, right? So certain underlying qualities. Subject matter content, you may not be consistent, but certain qualities, your abilities will be slowly, exponentially, they will be increasing. Ultimately, that is what actually saves you. That is what matters, right? Did you get this? So ultimately, this examination is about transforming yourself, right? It's a mind game. The one who is the most tough mentally, right? You have a huge debt problem back at home, big health issues with your, like, God forbid, like with parents or something, right? But you are mentally tough, right? You are not, crying is not wrong, but you are not crying, you are worrying about it, but again you are not letting that worry affect your preparation, right? That is what the single-minded focus. So mental toughness, this mental toughness, right, you have to develop. So I used to use the word, you have to become ruthless, right? So to succeed in anything, not just in this examination, you have to be ruthless. Being ruthless doesn't mean being bad, like villain type. Being ruthless, not getting distracted, ability to say no to people. Say no to people, right? You don't have to always say yes, yes, yes to people. So don't compromise, right? So integrity, what is integrity? Not getting compromised, right? That is the integrity. So these are the qualities. If you practice consistently, you are in the top that bracket of 5,000 to 6,000 people. Ultimately, in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years, or even 6, 7 years, you can and you will become IAS, right, or IPS or Indian Foreign Service, provided you don't give up, and there is always this process of getting tough mentally and incremental improvements. So you keep doing this, you are going to crack this examination. So even if you crack, after 2 attempts, 3 attempts, still it is worth it. But because we are coming to the number of attempts thing, my personal suggestion is that after one attempt, right, after one attempt, let us say that you are giving your attempt in 2026. So till 2026 April, you prepare as if you don't have anything else to do, right, so intensely, so well, overall for the examinations, right, give the exam and clear the prelims. After writing mains, do one of these two things, get into a job or go for higher education. Applying for higher education should start immediately after you complete your coaching, right. It can be MTech, it can be MS, it can be, so there are wonderful courses, coming, courses on public policy, courses on governance, digital governance, right. All the IITs have started, National Law School has good courses, so that are useful for you as an administrator tomorrow, right. So that will add to your confidence and your, DAF, your resume also. It is not part of the plan B I am talking about, right. So you should not waste time only, 24 hours, 365 days preparing for the examination. So I think after doing, intense preparation for 1.5 years, completing optionals, completing all the GS course, making notes, learning to write essay, learning to write answers, right. So I think there is only revision and updating. So with 6 hours efforts every day, you can crack the examination in your subsequent attempt. Those who claim they are preparing full time, in the second, third attempt, I don't think they will study more than 6 to 8 hours, right. So one thing is going for higher education from best institutions. You would have acquired enough knowledge by then, to crack those entrance examination. It can be MBA from IIM also, right. So that is one option, and you can think even big if you have resources, to go to London School of Economics, right, to go to Harvard or Oxford. Keep these things in your mind. Second option, go for a job, right. It can be part-time job, it can be full-time job. If you have enough qualifications, go for a full-time job and then start preparing for the examination by giving minimum 6 hours every day, right. So this is my personal suggestion, so that you don't get stuck up in the so-called vicious cycle, right. But never give up on the dream of IAS, right. You can work for 1 year, and then, if it was not good, you can always come back. The thing is, don't be in the illusion that, in one attempt by age 23, 24, you are going to crack the examination. The success rate is very low. You may crack, you may not crack, but be well prepared. So prepare in such a way that if you crack, well and good, right. But if you don't crack, I don't want you to waste like again 2-3 years of your life. So that is the point. So otherwise, as I told earlier, so in the next 5 to 6 years, everybody sitting in this room actually can crack the examination. But the reality is different. I mean, the reality in the sense that not you cracking, the reality is that all of you, majority of you will slowly start giving up. So this will happen, right. So ensure that this doesn't happen. Are you really strong? ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಗುರು, ನಾನು mentally tough. Like any quote you read, you feel like that quote is written for, you are that quote, right. Any article motivational, you feel like you are that person, strong, right. You feel like you are that person, but in practice you are not totally that person. So partially you may be that person, but not totally that person, right, including me, right. Everyone is thinking big, trying to achieve something big in their lives, right. So I am that person. I think really big, I think big and I try to act. Doesn't care about failures, doesn't care about what people think, right. So I feel that there is only one life, right. So I wanted to be IAS. Before IAS, I wanted to win a Nobel Prize. So I did, I skipped medical, and then did BSc genetics. So at that time, genetics was boom. Like 2002, I finished my PUC, plus 2. 2001 human genome project happened, and my biology teacher was so good, he put all these dreams, ki 5 years down the lane you can have a designer babies, you can create superhuman, right? You can become genetic engineer and put any kind of gene you want and create something like that. So I thought like, yes, a good thing. So become scientist. And when I felt I should become scientist, I used to visit Indian Institute of Science every week. Right? Nobody told me that. I felt I used to think, okay, which is the best institution for the science research? IAS in Bengaluru itself. Okay, so the Nobel Prize, winners would come and give lecturers. I would go attend, listen to them. I used to dream like that, and then I skipped because I felt it will take 30 to 40 years, right? And then wanted to become DC, Jilladhikari, right? I mean, to build homes and other things, to help the poor, to serve the poor, basically. And then I tried my best because there was no guidance. We were on our own at that time. No coaching institutions in Bangalore, no websites at that point of time. We didn't know which books to buy, right? There used to be one magazine, Civil CSR, what is it? Civil Services Review or something, right? Competition CSR, Competition Success Review. That was the only source. And they used to write all the false stories of toppers, false interviews. We didn't know if they were real toppers or anything. There was no internet, basically. Internet was there at a very nascent stage, during those 2005, 6, 7. So went till interview through self-preparation, narrowly missed. Whatever we had learned school days, that we never wrote single answer. Nobody told, you should write answers, do answer writing practice. Whatever we had learned in school days, we applied. But IAS didn't happen, KS happened. KS without preparation, you just walked in and wrote. That is what you should do. Prepare for the best top level. Keep writing all the examinations, right? So you will go on clearing some examination. Bank exams you will clear. Respective state government examinations, central government different department examinations, SSC, CGL. Keep applying and keep writing. So then I thought, okay, I didn't become IAS, so all the knowledge I gained, came to Bangalore, started with some 40 students, and the institution grew. And Karnataka used to get only 5-6 ranks. Nowadays it is 30 ranks, only because of insightsias. There is no other way of telling it, because we started guiding more number of students. I started guiding answer writing and started something called core batch. And then after 10 years, I thought I should become member of parliament. Why not? So do I have to be a son of politician or come from political family? So I thought this is a democracy. We can dream big. So I then went to Davangere. I fought really hard. And I tried my best and made it a triangular competition. Nobody thought, somebody, an ordinary individual can go there without political background, without any kind of, political resources and, make it a triangular. I singularly did it. I, visited 900 villages, directly met more than 3 lakh people, right? All in the span of 8 months, morning to night, like 16 hours minimum. So I dreamt big, and that's what I was telling. Proportionately act upon it. If I were given a ticket, I would be member of parliament right now from the Davangere constituency. And I'm not sad about it, I'm not worried about it. So what most proud about it is I dreamt big and tried for it. And I'm not going to stop, right? So it will continue in some other form. So the point here is that all of you can be far better individuals than currently what individuals sitting in front of me, right? So choose, you have already made a choice, and proportionate to that choice, keep really working hard, right? And so I mean, you will become IAS, IPS officers, right? And you will become foreign service. Some of you might end up IRS, something, right? So your journey will be going parallel, and my journey will be going parallel. And when I am thinking about others, people who are achieving, who are thinking big, their journeys will be going parallel, right? We will keep meeting at different places. So when we meet at different points of time, let's say after 5 years, after 10 years, we should be better individuals, in better positions than where we are today, right? So that is how you make life more exciting and more meaningful. Otherwise, you are one among billions of people, right? So luckily for you, you have resources, you have people to guide you, right? People who can push you. So you have all the resources, you have all access to all the resources. Accessibility, availability, affordability, right? Affordability, I'm very proud to say that we haven't increased fees in last 5 years, right? If you go to Delhi, they charge 2 lakh only for GS part, foundation course, and then optional 55 to 60,000. So we are kept at 30,000, right? We can also charge 60,000 if you want. Nobody is going to stop. But considering the demography of Karnataka, right? And CSAT is not included in that 1.75 to 2 lakh fees where Delhi people charge. So in almost 1 lakh you are going to get everything, including mentorship, including integrated test series, right? Prelims cum mains test series. So it is up to you for you to make use of everything. So ultimately transforming yourself through making use of the available resources, right? If you make use of available resources to the maximum, right? So you are going to succeed. So wish you all the best, and take care of yourself, and don't get stressed out, and so be strong, right? I mean, you will face every kind of problem, food problem, accommodation problem, small fights, small issues outside. Don't ignore, but learn something from them, and keep moving forward. Don't get stuck, and don't make small problem a big problem, right? Some problems just vanish, some problems are creation of our mind. If you stop thinking about them, the problems just vanish sometimes, or most of the times. The problems don't exist in reality. Do they stand like individuals, the problems? Do they have shape and form, the problems? Where do you see problems? Right? You see all the problems in your mind, right? So they don't have a shape and form. They don't exist. They are not sitting next to you, or they are not sitting within you. They are all the creation of mind. So be aware of these things. Okay. So we want you to succeed, and I have this dream. We want 100 people to crack this examination from Karnataka. And if you're from Andhra or Tamil Nadu, from your state, you crack it. And we want more number of Kannadigas, to be in these services, so that they can contribute to the growth of India, right? So everyone is good people. We are also very good people. So very talented, very creative. So for some reason, our people have stopped thinking big, or don't think big. Still there is lack of awareness. That is why in the middle of the session I asked that question. So we have this dilemma, right? We want to fill young minds with this big dream, but again we know the reality of this examination. Everyone is not going to crack this examination, but there is a solution. As I told you, 1 or 2 years into preparation, get into higher education, a job, and then continue, right? And if you are well equipped from the school, college days, I think it's a work of 2 to 3 years here, you can crack. So wish you all the best, and thank you so much. इसे वेलकम गिफ्ट चॉकलेट्स कुछ मीठा हो जाए.